Okay guys, welcome to today's stream where I will be continuing from yesterday's No Man's Sky progress. Now, I initially kind of wanted to do these as episodes, and to be honest, I am fairly content in just kind of streaming it, but treating it like an episode. I'm just making myself a little bit smaller just so that the text isn't being covered by my mug. Trying to find the best place for my camera was a little bit tricky because we've got all sorts of modules and such. As you can see, if I go there, you've got things over there and things over there. So it looks like wherever I'm going to be, there's kind of going to be a little bit of an overlap. So apologies for that, but this kind of seems to be the best position. So I'm just going to keep myself here. So, if you haven't seen yesterday's stream, in the first hour what we did, we basically left the main planet and then we headed out into the stars, and this was the next destination along the quest path. And here we are. So, we ended up on this planet just here. I'm going to aptly name the planet now, so let's go to Discoveries. Yeah, and then this is the planet, I believe, just here. Tiberuk Binzen is what it's called at the moment. However, I am going to aptly name this. The word in my head does not sound right, so I'm just checking the spelling, but I'm fairly sure this is right. Yeah, that was a really easy one to get right. Vimto. Right, perfect. So we have Vimto. Kind of like a Pluto, but aptly named because Vimto is a delicious purple drink. And this is a delicious purple planet. So we'll get things kicked off straight away with that reference thrown in here. I'm capping it up today with our Arckellon cap because my hair is an absolute mess and it's probably best just to kind of bury it under the biggest object possible, and this is the biggest object possible I could fit on my head. Didn't have any buckets or anything, so I've just gone for the big cap. Now we're building the base, and to build the base we're going to need carbon. Now it's a bit of a shame because the prettiest plants are the carbon plants. I think I'm going to go for the mushroom ones as opposed to the glowing circular ones because... oh, that's the circular. The ones that look like... I don't really know what to describe them as. It's like a... I don't know, like a sphere. But it's like one of them... it's like a ball, like a... oh, right, I know an object I can compare it to, but it's a really sort of bizarre one. When you see, if you've ever seen a mine exploder, so like what they use in the army to basically roll around a minefield and blow up bombs, that's what they look like, except they're on sticks. Basically what they are is they're like circular objects with long arms, and they bounce around just a minefield and blow up objects, and or blow up mines specifically. It's a really cool invention. I don't know, I can't remember if they were driven manually or if it was just by the wind or whatever, but they were really, really effective because they were heavy enough to trigger the mines, and they were made of like really durable material, so they could just bounce around for ages and just clear out most of a minefield. So pretty cool. Anyway, we're mining carbon, so ultimately it's a bit of a weird one how we have to recharge with carbon, but it's okay. I'm sure I'll get over it. Now, down here we have smaller carbon plants, which we can also take. And as you can see, carbon, or not just carbon, but any material that takes a little while to mine, it typically means you're going to get a bigger yield from that plant. Not only do you receive bits of carbon or ferrite or whatever it is you're mining whilst you're doing this, when it hits the end point, you'll get a big rush of that element, and the longer it takes to mine it, typically, the more of that element you'll get towards the end. So that's just a point worth bearing in mind. But for now, I am just going to mine this stuff up, get this oxygen. So if you see snappy plants, whippy plants, anything that attacks you, I would recommend destroying them for two reasons. One, because they are cruel and have no heart, so essentially they are there to just lash out at you when you get close. Second reason is they always drop oxygen, and oxygen is actually really useful because you can use oxygen to refill your life support, and refilling the life support is crucial in this game. So I would recommend mining them plants when you happen to come across them. Also, since yesterday's video, I think we've had like, I don't know, maybe like another 25 views since it was put up yesterday, and it was late yesterday as well. So it's done really well, like, since it went live. So if you are watching these videos back, thank you for that support. It's much appreciated, and we got really good reception in the voting on that video as well. So hopefully that was helpful to you. I'm more awake today, so I should be more descriptive and like I should be more engaging in terms of what it is I'm doing and the direction that we're going. Because I've woke up, I'm like, right, I need to get more hours of this game back under my belt and get back into the galaxy and start exploring and kind of go on the path that I would typically go on. Now, I know it may look like I'm being a bit of an overkill with the amount of carbon that I'm collecting, but we're building a base, so I want to have an abundance of carbon in my inventory. We'll get some of this as well, just in case we happen to need it later on. They're an example of the plants that try and kill you. I think there's like three main types. There's these gas ones. There's the ones that we saw a little bit earlier that look like a Venus flytrap. And there's also the ones that have, basically it looks like a tail sticking out the ground, and then when you get near it, it tries to whip you. They're the ones that do the damage, so keep an eye out for them because they are not helpful. And sometimes if you're like really low on health, so your life support's drained, they'll take a health bar off you, and ultimately that's not something you want to happen, especially if you're playing on like the survival mode where things kill you a lot easier, or if you're playing on permadeath, because obviously the last thing you want to do on permadeath is die, so just be very careful about little plants. Okay, we've got some fauna over here we've not scanned yet, so let's go ahead and do so. We've not got any scanner upgrades just yet, but that will all be stuff I'll be explaining when we go to the space station for the first time. I don't think we can see the space station from here. I've not seen the little icon in the sky, so it might require us to go into space first, but that's not a problem. Now, for those of you that don't know, this machine, this base log, has an inbuilt timer. We'll see the timer probably in a moment. That timer continues after you finish your gameplay. It runs off your system clock, so you can come back to the game at a later stage and the timer will have gone down. So let's pick up these plans, and then it'll tell us in our, I think it's just, no, I thought it was going to be in the log, but maybe it's just because we're not quite at the stage where the game is telling us to wait for the next upgrade from that just yet, which is fine, but it will come to us. These, I think, were made a little bit cheaper at one stage to build, I think. I can't remember if it was always 25 or if it used to maybe be 50, but I remember you used to run out of carbon so quickly. I think these definitely used to be more expensive, at least more than 10, and these are 25. Now, tip for when you're building, if you want to go into a much easier view for when you're building, hit on your controller the left trigger button. If you don't have a controller equipped, hit the letter C on your keyboard. But I'm using a controller, so I'm going to hit the left analog stick in, and it'll take you to this. and you can basically zoom out from your character and just build. And it's so much easier to build in this mode. So we're going to put that there. I'm going to pop that there. These will be getting replaced with glass windows when we hit an ice planet and we're able to farm some frost wart, which is the material used to make glass. But we don't have the recipe for glass as of now, but we will at some stage get that, and it shouldn't be in the too distant future. You've got two options to get recipes. You can either follow the main story and you'll get quite a lot of recipes through that, or if you don't want to do the main story, that's fine as well. You can actually go ahead and go to the Nexus, which is it's basically the hub of this game. You'll see other players there. That reminds me, whilst I am on the topic of multiplayer, network. I really don't want people joining my game. I've had it before where there's random people, because basically on the main menu you get an option to join a player. I'm pretty sure that's what that'll do. Now, multiplayer, I don't mind multiplayer, it's more just the people joining my group that I'm not super keen on. And I'm changing that to invite only because hopefully I'll be able to get Dio on board at some point, but we will wait and see. So that to friends only for now. I might change that to group though later on in the series if need be. And that's fine. I'm happy with that for now. If I start having people who are joining my game, I'm probably going to have to just turn off multiplayer. I don't know if the Nexus still works. I know you can definitely access it in single player, but I don't mind seeing the other players there. It actually adds an element to me. It's more just this bit of the game that I enjoy playing solo or with friends who I can trust. Too many times you put your trust in the wrong person and they wipe out your entire base. Okay, so we've got a base built. Now, I am a little bit of a stickler when it comes to base building. I don't like it to look unrealistic. So I'm going to basically just add some parts to make it stand like this. Just so we're not looking at a floating building on a rock, or not so much a floating building, but a balancing building that looks like it could topple over at any point. No Man's Sky doesn't use physics like you see in Valheim, for example, where if you don't have something below it, the object will fall due to physics. No Man's Sky doesn't really mind. It's like, look, if you want to build there, you build there. Both of them approaches are absolutely fine. I think, to be honest, in No Man's Sky, I really don't mind this sort of build system. Anyways, we've got our base built. Now, I appreciate that's a long drop. But my plan was to build a little balcony. And then hopefully get like a little fence or something that we can put around it. And then for here, I want steps. But I don't think I've got steps just yet. By the way, we've got a little base and we can get in it. So that's the main thing. And now we are inside. So this is asking us to recharge our life support. Little tip to do this quickly is you just hit down on your D-pad, then you get this battery icon, click up, and then replenish with the oxygen. I'm not sure what the button is for keyboard. Maybe it's S? No, I don't know. There will be a button map on the keyboard, but you may have to go into the control panel to find out what that is. Where I can just hit a button to tell you, I will, but unfortunately for that one, that's it's not something that pops up automatically. I'm just going to gather this ferrite just because it's nice and easy and on my doorstep, quite literally. Now, geodes. Geodes are super important in this game. They are, I say super important, they're important to keep track of, and the reason for that is when you break them, you get a material, and sometimes you can get something really good. Worst case scenario, you can get like a lot of ferrite. Best case scenario, you can get something super valuable. So let's analyze it by holding down B, or if you're on an Xbox controller, it'll be X. If you're on a computer, it'll be E. So let's just use square. What did we get? I think we got ferrite. Was it pure ferrite? I'm not sure. Ferrite dust we got for them. So you see at the top right, we've got 82 ferrite dust just for breaking them 2 geodes down. So it's definitely worth it. Okay, so now we've been asked to build a pure ferrite-based portable refiner. But we've already got a portable refiner because we've picked up the last one. So I'm just going to go ahead and place it. Now to get pieces of a base, you hit the up arrow on your D-pad. Again, that'll be different if you're not using a controller, but that allows you to access the build menu. And from the build menu, we are going to build our portable refiner and just place it somewhere nice in the base. So I'm just going to add it there. And then we have that now. So it's asking us to create magnetized ferrite. And we can actually place pure ferrite in to get that magnetized ferrite. So first of all, we need to fuel it with carbon, which typically we've just run out of. So I'm going to head back out and grab some. I'm just going to get this oxygen from this plant, just so we've got something for our life support systems, should they need using. Also, just for anybody wondering what I'm running this on, I am fully... all the settings are maxed out. And the only thing I've turned off, the only things I've turned off, are the scan lines at the top of the screen and motion blur, and that's it. Everything else I've kept active. And we're definitely still in the getting started phase at the moment, but it doesn't take long to get out of this phase. We're just building a nice base. Now the reason I'm putting a little bit more effort into this base is because it's on a really nice planet, and it's probably a base that I'm actually going to keep returning to. There's been times where the game has taken me to an ultra hazardous planet and it said, right, you need to build your base here, and I've been like, well, this is definitely not the sort of place that I want to have to keep returning to, so I've not invested much in the base. But given the fact we're on a paradise planet with amazing views, and at night time all the lights come out to play, and especially with the new lighting system that they've implemented, it's like, right, I'm going to stick on this planet. But we've got everything, so you can see the tessellation on the rocks. There's also a new tessellation that they've added to the space stations and such, so I'm looking forward to taking a look at that. A different type of occlusion, so it's not ambient occlusion, but it's something entirely different that I haven't heard of before. Looking forward to seeing what that is as well. That sounds like a fun thing to have a look at. So I'll certainly be taking a look at that when I get the chance as well. But for now, just gonna continue mining the last couple of bits up, and we'll head back in and we'll fuel up the portable refiner. So let's add the carbon. I think they've changed this so only is on when it's refining now. When this first came out, that wasn't the case. It was like, it's literally, I think would just keep going and going and going. I believe the batteries still do keep running when you're away, because batteries are constantly fueling a source, unless you build a switch. But again, that's much more advanced, and we'll come to that later on when we start hitting the electronic stage of this game, which isn't at the moment, so not something we have to worry about too much just now. Okay, so we're just waiting for the thing to finish. I'm just having a quick look at the sunset just as the game transitions. How are we doing for fauna? So if we go to our discoveries, we've got 4 out of 8 discovered on this planet. So we found our first furry animal. So this is what the fur looks like in the game, at least on one of the animals. There might be animals that have longer fur, there might be animals that have shorter fur. This one is just this weird spore-looking creature. And again, another weird-looking spore-looking creature. Like, I mean, I don't even know where that... like, where does the waste come out of? And then the flying ones, which are just like sort of bat things. But yeah, this creature's a lot more normal looking. To be honest, this is the sort of creature you'd imagine seeing like randomly on Reddit one day and then having no clue it exists. Like that happens quite a lot with me. I'll just be browsing Reddit and then there'll be a photo of an animal. I'll be like, that's not a real animal. And then I Google it and I'm like, that's actually a real animal. That's the sort of thing that I could imagine being posted onto Reddit as well. So you'll see at night time, this was added back in the update. Oh, I can't remember what it was called. A couple of like 3 or 4 updates ago. The one which added sandworms and all that sort of stuff. We got these sort of plants which light up in night time, which is always nice to see. And with the new lighting, that will add nicer lighting. And here's another big thing that they've added. The night sky is now visible properly, so you can see the galaxy in the sky, which honestly is so much nicer than the previous night sky where you could see just little tiny clusters of stars. This is the actual night sky, and with there being no light pollution, it makes sense to have them going across there. We've got a little flyby from some random ships. We'll let them continue on their merry way. We've actually got a meteor landing just over there. They have added now the ability for them to drop like more valuable resources when they land, so that's something worth keeping an eye out for. For the time being, we don't really need to worry. So carbon nanotubes was the next thing that we need to build, so we can certainly craft them. Was it just the one? It was just the one. So this game now wants us to build a construction research unit. And what this actually does is it allows us to research new base parts. But to get new base parts, we're going to need research parts, which we can get, and I'll show you how to get them. But for now, we'll just use research buildable technology, because it's going to want us to build a base teleporter, which I will spend the 2 salvage data to discover. It's quite a cheap thing to build, but the biggest obstacle that you encounter in the early game is power. You can actually see, here's the power equipment here, so battery, solar panel, electric wiring. Once you've got the solar panel, but like maybe like a couple of batteries, the wiring and the and the teleporter, you've pretty much got a teleporter that will always be on, because after a full day, storms are very loud. After a full day in the after a solar panel spent a full day collecting energy and storing it in the batteries, you would typically have enough for that teleporter to remain active 24/7. So that's probably what we're going to do. Super conscious that it's stormy outside though, so I'm going to build my teleporter in here and have it. Actually, I might build it outside. Here. Oh, hang on! I need to build 4 metal plating and 2 nanotubes. So I'll head back inside just to alleviate your ears. I did turn down the game volume ever so slightly though, just so that you weren't having to run with that too much. We do need some carbon though, so we need to head back out and get it. Please do let me know if the storms are a little bit too loud at the moment. I'll turn down the game volume just a notch more if that is the case. But hopefully I can still be heard over it. Don't want to get rid of them plants, it's these ones I want. Hopefully we'll be able to get them from here. Yep, there we go. I'm keeping a close eye on the top right meter as well. Storm's clearing anyway. Perfect. The storms are pretty infrequent on this planet, to be honest. I think I've seen 2, and we've been here for a while, so it's definitely not like a a very, very stormy planet, which is nice. Sometimes you get planets which have next to no storms, but this one, thankfully, is a one which has intermittent storms, I would say, and not constant rainfall like some paradise planets. Okay, let's head back inside. And then use the construction unit again. In fact, no, sorry, we need to finish the construction on this. So build one more of them, and we should have enough now. Yep, it's gone green, so that means it's good to go. Now, initially, the game's just going to tell us to build a battery, and then the battery will power it, which is fine for now, but I wouldn't mind hunting down a grave. Will that be my grave? Or, oh, in fact, it's an unknown grave. So graves are actually quite important in this game. They give you teleportation glyphs, if I remember correctly. They're really important. So we've just stumbled upon one. Usually you have to speak to someone on a space station to get the... specifically a traveller on a space station. The travellers being basically what we are. Oh, that's not coming away. Yeah, the travellers basically being what we are, in that they are entities that don't fall into the typical three races that exist within No Man's Sky. The typical three races are Viking, Gek, and Korvax. So they're the three races that you'll see. Korvax are like a computer-based life form. So they have like they basically look like they're in Daft Punk, and the Geks are these weird beak-looking creatures. If there's any Geks watching, no offense, but like they do look quite odd, and they kind of have a bit of a personality of like a feline. So they've got something called catnip, or sorry, geknip, and that sort of stuff. So it kind of takes a bit of inspiration from that. Also, finally, you have the Viking, and they're like the warriors, the big sort of burly, gruntish warriors that like violence and all that sort of stuff. We'll encounter all of them in space, so plenty of time to see that. And that's a traveller. As you can see, travellers look fairly different. The kind of entities that exist within this game world, without trying to spoil anything, and they are... so these are NPCs, these aren't actual players, but they are things that exist within the game world and exist more as a anomaly kind of thing. So anyways, let's get through this. And there we go. So extract the glyph. Now, there's 16 glyphs in total, as you can see just there, and we can, once we've got all 16, we can travel to any planet we want, but we need to know what the glyphs are. You can just drill in a whole bunch of random glyphs if you really want to, and you'll end up somewhere. Even if it's not a valid sequence, it'll take you to the nearest by planet to that area. So that's a way you can travel across the galaxy very, very cheaply. Anyway, here's the fur up close. I know I'm scaring these guys off, but that's just so you can kind of see the fur that they've added in the new update. Now, I'm really keen to make a little bit of progress here because I want to get my jetpack upgraded and I want to get my sprint upgraded as well. And for them, we need to visit a space station. So what I'm looking for now are these things, yeah, buried technology modules. And these are fairly common in the game world. Now, there's two things I'm going to be using these for. The first thing I'm using them for is to build the teleportation portal up there. And once we've built that and got the power sorted as well, I'll be collecting more of these things because they sell for a lot of money. and that's how we're going to get our first million in the game. And it's important to have credits in this game because a lot of things require you to spend decent amounts of money to get various bits and bobs, such as ships and freighters and all that sort of stuff. I think freighters are probably the most expensive thing in the game that I'm aware of. Okay, so let's just grab this module. If this is your first time watching No Man's Sky, the world literally can be dug into with this terrain manipulator. So you can actually go down and find caves and stuff. But for now, I'm actually going to switch this to be restore and just put the stuff back. So it's nice and neat. But you've got mine, create, flatten, and restore. Now, mining is what we've just done. Create, you can like actually build stuff like that, and you can like shape it the way you want and build like artificial caves and that sort of stuff. Again, not something that I personally do much of, but the people who are super creative can do some really cool things with it. So definitely worth having a play around with if that's your cup of tea. So I was hoping that there'd be more in the vicinity, but I can't seem to find any. That's saying that this is back, but I don't think it is. I'll double check. Unless this is a different one that was next to it. Oops. Oh no, this is a different one. It's closer to the surface. Let's restore this. You can see that it's not just one per one as well. Sometimes you do get one, but it's quite unusual. You can get 2 and 3 and maybe 4. I don't know if 4 is a thing. So that says unknown grave again, but I'm sure that's the one we've just been to, based on where the ship is. And the graves are really uncommon, so yeah, I'm going to assume that's the same grave and just keep going. So these crates, these can contain pretty much a variety of things, either like a luxury resource. So there, Geknip is the one which we've just been talking about. You can give that to a Gek and raise your reputation levels. Reputation levels are a thing in this game that you can raise your rep with each of the 3 factions. Raising your rep with one faction does not ruin the rep with the other ones, so you can just raise them all to max if you like. What raising the rep does is it allows you to have access to additional missions and be able to do more luxurious missions as a result of that, because there's missions that you can get on the space station. The missions are fairly basic and follow a very, very, very basic structure. Go to a planet and do X, Y, or Z, and then come back. Or in some cases, travel to a trade post and drop something off. So, not a massive variety in missions, but again, missions can be a good way to get nanites at the start of the game. But there's also other ways which we can explore once we are a little bit more healthy unit-wise. Okay, so let's talk to our habitat machine, because it had an icon over it. Learn the biofuel reactor. Okay, so that'll be from this here. So it's going to ask us to do the battery-based one first. So buildable technology, as it zooms in on my character's backside. There we go. So you can see I've unlocked the additional stuff below it, but we don't need to worry about that just now. So power, and we're just going to pop a reactor down. I'm just going to put it at the back. Actually, I need to build one. Plating. I've actually got some crystal fragments that we can analyse. These typically turn into hydrogen, but I believe they can also turn into a storm crystal, and a storm crystal's worth good money as well, so let's see what we get from these. Right, they're all to hydrogen, but it's fine because, as you can see in the top right, we got 127, so good numbers. Okay, so we've got the biofuel reactor. We now need to build some wiring, and I think there's an easier way to do this. If I can remember. There's definitely a way you can just build wires in one of the... Maybe I've not actually researched it, is that why? Buildable technology. Yeah, electrical wiring, but it's free to research, so it's not a biggie. Right. And there's the wiring. And I think, is there another way that you can get to it quicker? Kind of keen to find this because it's a super useful thing to have. That Bytebeat library is new as well, by the way, just for anybody who is wondering. So you've got technology at the end that you can just go to. That might be one of the ways. I'm keen to get the battery, and the reason being is because if I put fuel in there, I don't want that fuel to be wasted. And if I was just to power that portal and just let the portal run, then it just draw all of the power out of the reactor, so I'd rather it only be active when I need it to be. So let's go ahead and plug down a battery. Oh, we need magnetized ferrite, so I'm not going to put it down just yet. We'll just do what the game wants us to do for now, which is get the wiring done. So that's wired up now. There is also a thing you can build to hide the wires, so we can do that at a later stage. This works in the same way as the refiner, but in this case we're also able to use oxygen. So I'm going to use oxygen just for the purpose of doing this for the quest, because I don't want to spend all my carbon powering up a portal that we're not going to be using just yet. Again, my plan is to mine a bunch of the technology modules and unlock the we've got batteries to build, so we'll need to get magnetized ferrite, but then the solar panels, and get like basically a self-sufficient power circuit going, so that we don't need to worry about power in our base. That's the plan. This is where it's going to ask us to go to the space station for the first time, I believe. Yep. So let's go ahead and jump back onto our spaceship. I'm just going to move me across just ever so slightly so that you can see the text, and I'm still in the way. It was really difficult finding somewhere where I wasn't in the way, to be honest, but I think no matter where I'm going to be slightly in the way. Right, okay, so let's hop on our little starter ship. Just going to grab the stuff in these red crates, because these are really useful at the start of the game when you don't have an abundance of like sodium and like basic materials. These can be really good. You can get like launch fuel and stuff, and like that can be extremely useful if you've run out and you're kind of stranded. You'll never ever be stranded in a position where you can't find the stuff to take off. You just have to do a little bit of hunting to get it. So now we get the opportunity to go up into space, so we'll do that just now. And here we are. Now the space station is that way, so we're just going to walk towards it. It's actually quite close, it's only 5 seconds away, so we'll be there imminently. There we go.
and it's actually facing our planet as well, which is a nice bonus. There's the new occlusion in place. You can see it on the spaceship, like on the space station. Like the way that the lighting's hitting it is completely different to the way the lighting hit it before. Basically makes flat metal objects look 3D. So in the same way as tessellation makes rocks look 3D, this makes metal and them sort of objects look 3D, so it's an additional thing that they've added. These should be shinier now as well, so you can see the reflections on the floor. I've got DLSS turned on, but it's on quality, so it should be showing it at a good level. But yeah, this never used to reflect. What No Man's Sky did before to make the illusion of reflections is they used a glass floor, so it was just a completely see-through floor, and they had exactly the same building below but mirrored, so it was upside down. And the good thing about that was it looked like it was just a direct reflection. However, things like ships and all that sort of stuff weren't reflected. I'm just checking now to see if ships are reflected, because I can't quite see. Yeah, you can see the ship reflection just below where the ships landed, so that's new. That wasn't a thing before because of the fact that they were using this. It basically was an optical illusion to make you believe that there was a reflection happening where there wasn't. So we have managed to hit our first space station, and it's a Gek space station. So these are the Gek, and one of the things that they like to do, they like to emit gases. So if a Gek farts in your face, it's actually them being nice to you. So it's a really weird looking thing. Now, this thing is quite cool. You can use it whenever you want, and it costs nothing to use. So this is how you can customize what your character looks. And when you're in third person, that can be quite important, but also when you run into other players, it's how they can see you as well. I like playing as an anomaly. You can play as a traveller and go through the different traveller looks, and there's additional ones that you can unlock using Quicksilver, which is not a currency that you buy with real money, but rather a currency that you earn doing the weekly tasks. And you can get quite a bit from it. You also get it from doing the main story as well, but it can take a little while to save up for some of the bigger items. So it's something to incentivize you into playing a save for longer. Although I'm a little bit guilty of every time there's a new update, I fully restart the game. So I'm not the best example of what they're trying to achieve with that. So the different helmets we've got are these ones. Well, these are presets, in fact. So I'll take you through the different ones. We've got body shape. Now I'm 6'5" in real life, so I need the tallest one. So I'm going to go for that. Now here's the helmets. We've got quite a few. So you can see there's locked off ones as well. But these are all ones that you can get through the Quicksilver stuff. But you've got plenty of helmets you can choose from. Now I really like the Regal looking one, and the base one, which is this one here. They're the two I like, because this one is like a very Earth looking space suit, but the Regal one just has a nice little flair to it, this one here. And what I do, I make that white, it's all white, and then just the Regal points. That's the look I go for. So that was type 6. So let's try and find a one that suits it. And these are just like sort of like the jerkin below it. That's a heavily padded one. I quite like that one, sort of like the carbon fibre sort of look. So we're going to change that to white. Now I don't mind the bits of blue. Blue and white's a really nice combo, but I'm going to keep it to a minimal. So, the armour. I think I'm going to just keep the Iron Man armour on and change that to white. And again, just the very subtle blue. So they've got the blue glow in the middle. And I think even the straps might be a little bit... I want really subtle blue. Yeah, I think the subtlety of just the blue chest and the blue little accents on there look better. So I'm going to go for that. And they're the different options. Trying to see what... Ah, right, I see. Sort of like the tubing and stuff that gets changed as a result of that. I actually think that looks better with the black around it. So I'm going to go for that. Gloves. I'm going to go for the sleek gloves. Sorry, space gloves. No. Was it sleek? No. No, I'm going to go for these ones. And then change that to white. Now, let's have a look and just see how much blue's on there. Again, see how it's minimal? Like on the tips of the fingers? That's what I'm looking for, just a really minimal amount of blue. I could change it so that the wrist highlights become that, but no. I want it to be absolutely minimal. Okay, legs. We have... So, cloth ones won't suit our build. These metal ones, again, don't really suit the build we're going with. I think the industrial ones are probably the closest. Yeah, so we're going to go industrial, we're going to go white. Now I think there's going to be just the little blue bits at the top, which I'm fine with. That just adds a crotch area, I think. Let's change. Oh right, okay, no, that gives you like white underwear, so... And what's this one here? And that's for that. Okay, that'll be fine. And then we'll go to... Yeah, go to boots. And select these, because they've got the scaling on the back, which matches our top. So, again, white and blue. And just the minimalistic blue is perfect, so I'm going to go for that. Now we have the backpack. You can unlock a whole bunch of jetpack trails that you can set. Now what's this one? Oh, it's just the base one, right? Cool. I'm just looking at the patterns and seeing which one I want. If I'm being honest, I'm just going to go for the base and then do white and blue. There we go. Good stuff. I'm happy with the look of that. I think that looks good and very uniformed. For our banner, we are going to have Arckellon gold, and then I actually think the black looks quite nice. Go for that. I think that looks good. Okay, emblem. I usually go for the first one, but I'm actually going to go, I think, with the compass this time. So that's our... Although it is technically a warp what we're doing, but I think the compass looks better. It's us going on a journey together, so I think that makes sense to have. If I can find it again, there it is. And we'll go for that. Great stuff. So that is us done. Now, save this here. So we've got it saved, and we are good to go. So here's our new character that we've just pulled together in the module. And again, that's all free of charge, so you can feel free to use that whenever you feel fit. Okie dokie, so next most important thing when you visit a new space station is using this suit slot upgrader. You can only use it once, but you can use anytime you visit a new space station, you can use it in there. This is the first time we visited the space station, which is why it's available to us. You can either add a general slot, a technology slot, or a cargo slot. Cargo can carry a little bit more than the general in terms of the stack size, but well, I should say the stack size of some items. So like metallic plating, you can carry more of them in the cargo, but things like the hydrogen ferrite dust, the things that have a really large number in the bottom right corner, they have a maximum, I believe, of 9999, and then they don't go any higher than that, and the cargo is still 9999 for them as well. So it's really just items that are like navigation data or things that stack in ones that you want to be putting into cargo. Technology is something that we'll come on to when we start installing stuff, but that's when you add new stuff to your suit slots, the technology will allow you to have perhaps, I think this is where you get like the jetpack booster and things like that, so that's where all of that stuff gets installed. And if they're installed adjacent to each other, it actually gives you a bonus as to how much it impacts your flight or whatever it is you're installing on your suit. We're going to go for the extra space to start with because inventory space is super important. We've got the exocraft stuff, so there's different vehicles in the game. I think there's like 4 or 5 at the moment. You've got like a motorbike, you've got that car that you can see in the background there, you've got a hover bike thing that can go over water, you've also got a nauticon that's a submarine that goes under the water, and finally you've got like a huge tank, like a colossus that can, it's got more inventory slots, but it is quite slow and it's meant for mining and that sort of stuff. We don't have any of that yet. That's probably mid-game stuff. Okay, so next we have spaceship or starship research. This is where you can upgrade the guns on your starship and make it go faster and all that sort of stuff. We have a new multi-tool here, which doesn't look great. It's a B class, so it's better, but ultimately it's minimal and it costs like over 200,000 units, so it's not the best. Sometimes you get some really, really good multi-tools in there though, so it's always worth having a look. Oh, right, okay. I've made the mistake of talking to one of them people. In this initial quest, you should only talk to people who are going to be of no help to you behind the counter, because I believe they get stuck in that state and they refuse to talk to you. So here's other ships flying in now, and you can see that they are actually reflecting off the background now, so that's good to see. Now that sort of fuzziness that you see in there, I believe that's as a result of DLSS and just the way it handles reflections, because it's actually at a lower resolution and it's upscaled using AI, but you get like double the FPS as a result of it, so it's totally worth having on. You can have everything on an Ultra. I'm on a 2070 Super, and even everything on an Ultra was tanking it down to about, I think it was between maybe 30 and 40, but with this on I can get well above 60. I've just done it again where I've talked to somebody I shouldn't have done. I should just be talking to these people, because these are eventually going to cave. Yep, there we go. Okay, so now it's going to ask me to go back to my base. So, just to summarise, in the bottom right there, you've got upgrade your ship and equipment, visit the cartographer, which is this guy here, for directions to outposts and other buildings, take missions, which is from this guy here, but because I talked to him before, I don't think I'll be able to talk to him again. I'll try though, because if I try and talk to him, I think he might just repeat the same "why you're talking to me" sort of thing. Use the teleporter to instantly return to your base. Let's try talking to him though.
Yeah, so you see how it says the life form looks at me, trace of fear and surprise behind the eyes. It is clear they have nothing more to say to me. The reason he's saying that is because I tried talking to him when I should have been talking to these people over here about the word 16. Because I said 16 to him, he's now too scared to talk to my character because the word 16 in this environment is very very bizarre to them. This is the new warp screen, first time I'm seeing it as well, and it does look really cool. Never seen it before. It was sort of more just sort of like the lines before, but all of the extra stuff going on outside of it, sort of swirly patterns and stuff, that's all new, so nice to see they've updated that. And I believe it's updated as well for when you're warping in the ship, so you should see updates when you try and do that as well. Okay. I've just realised no, there's no P. Right, that's fine. Okay, so next task is to visit our computer. So let's just quickly visit this. Begin decryption. Fly to us and claim your place among the stars. This is like the main story, basically, progressing. But by progressing through the start of the main story, you actually unlock quite a lot of stuff. So it's worth doing, in my opinion. If you didn't want to touch the main story, you can go to the Nexus once you've unlocked it, which we will unlock, I think, probably now. I think this is the Nexus bit now. If not, this is the bit where it tells you how to warp. And you get, like, the warp stuff, and then you warp. Okay. Hopefully that'll resolve the dropped frames, but I'm just going to keep an eye on that error log just in case. Okay, so this is going to be another example where I'm going to get in the way of the messages, but basically it just says the word message. So a schematic for a hyperdrive is attached to the end of the message. Take blueprint. Okay, great. So this is for the warp drive. I'm also just going to change to multi-stream so that I'm looking at the right channel. There we go. Perfect. So now what we can do is, I think that's resolved the drop frames now as well. Perfect. Want us to build the hyperdrive on our ship. Which we can't build just yet. We'll add it just so it's there, but we need to get a microprocessor from the space station, which is quite expensive, and chromatic metal. And for the chromatic metal we need copper. So let's just have a quick look to see if we can find a copper node. We've already found one, but I'm just checking to see if there's any closer. It's times like this where the exocraft, so the vehicles, are actually really useful. So there's another copper over there that we can go to as well, and there's a bunch of buried technology modules surrounding us. So my plan is to go to that one, then to the copper, then up here to get them two, then to the copper over there, see if there's any other technology modules, and then we'll circulate back to the ship. So let's start with this up here. It'll take us just a moment because we're obviously going to run out of jetpack quite quickly, but we're really, really close to where we need to be, so I'm not ultra bothered about the distance. If it was like 1,000 meters away, then fair enough, but with it being like less than 200, it's no biggie. You can see the amount of units that we need for the 5 processors in the bottom right corner, but getting these technology modules and selling them is a really, really good, easy, early game method of getting your first million. I put in the description that it was my target to get at least 1 million within the first 2 hours of the stream, and I still intend to stick by that. So there's the cobble over here. just going to check just to see if there's any nearby technology modules, but there is not. And that's more copper over there actually, but I think it's a bit of a distance away, and we're going to be getting... Oh, that's cobalt, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm planting. I'm trying to deselect it, but it's not having it. Copper, why did I say it? Or was it the cobalt I was looking at? So copper here, perfect, right. Yeah. Cool. And then when we're up there, that'll then let us get the technology modules that were over there. So we'll go ahead and do that. You're getting no sounds. So thanks for flagging, Mouse. The stream should be coming through with sound. I did turn down the game volume slightly because when you hit a storm it was like crazy volume, but I'll jump back in. You should hopefully be able to hear that. It's coming up on Streamlabs as the output is coming through, so fingers crossed that is making its way through to you. Unless it's a microphone you're talking about, but again, it's showing the meter is moving, so hopefully it's okay. But let me know if it's still causing any problems. But yeah, I had turned down the game volume quite a lot when the storm hit, because it was at like 100 decibels or something. It was crazy. Okay, so let's head up to the copper deposit. Also, let me know, guys, if the sound has came back. Oh, it's too loud. Sadly, I'll just turn it back down again. I don't want it overruling my voice, and unfortunately, that often happens when a game randomly gets super loud, like it does in the weather conditions that we've had. Okay, so we've got some copper. That's probably enough for the chromatic metal that we need, but I'm going to grab some more just so that we've got enough, because we should also be near the technology modules as well. So that was the first one, and then the second one's just a little bit further afield. So let me just mine this. So we've got the oxygen, and then we'll put this on. Perfect. Thanks for confirming, Mouse. It's good to know it's back in action. And welcome to the stream. It's good having you here. Now, the second one was just here. I'll show you why these are so worth getting early game in just a moment, because if I now go into my inventory, which is the other button, exosuit. So you'll see I've got these modules here. So now I can get 500,000 for the 10 that I've picked up out the ground. So it's really worth the effort in going through and digging them up. 500,000's a lot at this stage in the game. And it's not going to take many more to get 1,000,000. Another 10, and we're getting between, it's usually between like 2 and 4. That you get from each of these little dig sites, and there's usually quite a lot of them where you land, so you can get that. So, just to answer your question there, Mouse, with the mining beam, the way it works at the moment is there's an upgrade you can get to get more ore in general, but you can, when you're mining, basically the speed in which you mine at, so this is a better example, the speed increases as the bar in the top right goes up, and that goes up as your mining beam gets hotter. Now, the change that they made was when you feather it towards the top, So I'm just going to let this go to full just so I can show it. So we're a short way off now. So when you're starting to feather it now, it no longer just gets rid of the whole like meter. It sort of just tethers near the top, but the speed in which you mine at remains really high. So it's a good idea just to feather at this level, and it's a much more efficient mining method because you'll see how fast I'm able to take these guys down now. I don't believe that impacts the amount of resources that you get though. The amount of resources that you get, I believe, is controlled by a module that you can install on your multi-tool, and they're the mining beam modules, which I believe increase the yield, but the speed is definitely impacted by that meter in the top right corner. So we were just going to go ahead and pick up this technology module. There's also some new birds in the sky that we can scan. Let's get a bit closer. The latest patch mouse was very much more centered around the visual side of the game, as opposed to changing any of the gameplay mechanics, and the last couple of updates before that haven't really touched them either. The last major update that came out late last year, that did change a couple of things, and if I do notice any, I'll be sure to call it out. But yeah, there definitely are, at least in this patch, it's just much more a case of the lighting being improved, DLSS being implemented if you've got an RTX graphics card on the PC, of course. People are saying that when they're using DLSS and they're using VR, their performance is like so much better. I'm personally getting great performance with DLSS turned on as well, but I'm not in VR, so yeah. So yep, I've also got the terrain manipulator, which you've just referred to there, and the beam. I think you used to be able to use the left and right key to change the size in which that you mine. I think it's fairly static now, but it's actually quite a big area that you mine with it. But what you can do is, so you can see here, like I can't really change the size of the area I'm mining, but it's still quite a large zone. But what you can do is you can change the alt, so you've got the create mode, which is where you sort of like add stuff. You've also got flatten, which allows you to, this is more for base building, but if you wanted to flatten this area out and make it into a flat zone to build, like, you know, like wooden platforms on, that's something you can do as well. But they've also added restore, which allows you to basically undo the changes, and this is one of the ones where you can see the change size thing come in, where you use L1 and R1. So that perhaps might be what you were thinking of with the terrain manipulator, just the L1, R1 there. And that's how you change the size of it, using L1 and R1. But for mine, as you can see, it's the same thing again, just L1 and R1. You've got the big zone, and then if you want to do the smaller concentrated zones, you've got the smaller one. But I just typically keep it on the larger one. But hopefully that helps clear that up as well. Restore, so I'm just going to restore this using the picker beam. There we go. And if it actually impacts the amount of ore that you gather, I'm not sure if there is an upgrade for the terrain manipulator that allows you to gather more. I'll have to double check when we go to the Nexus. But the Nexus hasn't came up on the initial missions just yet, so I think we actually are quite close though, because we're just doing the things now to get the sentient plant. Because we haven't quite got the warp drive yet, but we're really close. We just need to get some. It was either magnetized ferrite or chromatic metal, so we should be quite close. Sentient plants. I think these contain, is it aluminum pearls? I'm just going to double check. We'll open one up. Yeah, so you can pick out pearls from these plants. And these, thankfully, you've got to be a little bit careful because you do get the sentinels on you quite quickly for taking valuable stuff, but they're not even that valuable. I think that's one of the things I've always thought should have been worth more. The pearls, the vortex cubes, the gravitino balls. I know you can farm the gravitino balls, but it would be nice for them to be worth more to kind of make the risk worth the reward. If I was to go into my inventory and hover over them, they're only worth 21,000 units, whereas my salvage data is currently almost worth 750,000, and that's just from a little bit of jumping around farming the little technology module slots. So I need to be very careful here because I am so under armoured for these big guys to be attacking me. But we can escape them relatively easily. You just need to keep running in a direction and eventually lose track of you, and it kind of works like the Grand Theft Auto Wanted level system where you just have to get far enough away and they stop looking. And you can see that I've already gone down from 3 bars to 1 in the top right corner. So where that like sort of diamond shape is with the red dot in, there was 3 of them before. Now why is this guy way up here? This is going to be a bit of a challenge to get. I'm still getting attacked by this. Right. I want this, but spawned at a really, really weird place. These are always meant to be underground, but obviously in this example, it's not happening. I can't quite land on it. It doesn't help on this dude. Chasing me either. Right, let's try and land on it. I'm going to jump up on the cat and then place my jetpack. Nope, couldn't quite get it. I'm just going to leave it because these sentinels are going to kill me if I don't. And we'll start heading back to our ship as well, which is over this way. So that's the things we're looking for, but typically they're below the ground. The copper deposit over here, so we'll get that one, and then the Sentinel forces have been deactivated now as well, so they are no longer going to bother us unless we start picking up more pearls. For now, let's just make our way over here and grab the copper deposit. And then once we've got that, I think I'll just call my ship to me and then fly back over to the crashed freighter, just because it was quite a distance away and I'd rather have to do it. So if you find these blue plants here, you can use it, and basically you get like an infinite jetpack for a period of time. You just got to be careful because it's not for like ever. It will run out, and it'll tell you when it starts to deplete. So there it is there. And I'll just gently land, just so you're not falling from like a huge height. So let's continue up this hill, and then we'll grab the jetpack. So just in case you've tuned in a little bit later on, here's the new fur that they've added. As you can see, this creature has fur now. Before, that wasn't a thing. Fur was not appearing on any sort of animal, so it's one of the changes. The other changes you'll mainly see at night time when the lights come out. So when you see the night sky, when you see the volumetric light, and then when you visit the space station, you'll see the reflections. They're the main things in here. But the main thing for me, to be honest, above all that, was DLSS. DLSS is, honestly, it's absolute wizardry. The games that implement it pretty much rely on it, especially if they're using ray tracing. It can really, really help performance for that. So it's good to see that Hello Games have brought that into this game. Okay, our ship is miles away, so I'm just going to summon our ship to here using this menu. Perfect, right. Let's hop in and head back to our mission marker. Which is over here. Oh, we need to go to the space station now. Right, okay. Well, we can certainly do that, and we can sell some of them blueprint modules that we were digging up, the technology modules. I'm just going to see if we can find just a couple more, because I do want to get 1 million. So we just need to find maybe 2 more dig sites, and once we've got them, we will then be able to continue on. But usually when you land, you're surrounded by quite a few close ones. So this one, yeah, it's only 200 away. And there's one next to it as well. So we'll get that one just now. So this lighting was added, like the coloured plants was added during last year's major update. I believe these are new pieces of fauna. These things, I've not seen these before. I've seen the mushrooms before with the lights underneath them, but I've not seen the sort of ball things before. So either they were added in this update or they were added in a previous update and I just hadn't encountered them yet, which is entirely possible. And also like the little grass glows as well, which is a nice little touch for Paradise Planets. We're actually in a meteor shower at the moment. As you can see, we've got loads of meteors coming down. You've got to be a little bit careful because they will land on you when you enter a meteor shower. Here's the night sky now. So as you can see, you can actually see loads of stars in the sky, which honestly I didn't realise probably how much a game like this needed something like that. There's my base up there, by the way. We've actually come full circle. Right, let's just go ahead and get this plant. And then grab the module. Got a little bit sidetracked by the pretty colours on the screen, so just mine through here and grab this. Perfect. Okay, so we got 3 pieces of salvage data from that one, and the next one, it was pretty much next to it, so let's go to this one. We've also got one just down here, so this is such an easy way to make money in the early game. On there, and there was another one. At least I thought I saw another one up there, but maybe I was seeing things. Okay, let's grab this one, and then we can get off this planet and move on. Here we go. Just for anybody wondering how to turn DLSS on, I didn't mention it in my last video, but it's quite a useful thing to know. So you just need to go to Options, Graphical Options, and then it's under Anti-Aliasing. It might have, is it FSAA or something, or FCAA, and then you've got, is it TSS or TSA or something, for the other standard types of anti-aliasing. But then if you've got a GTX graphics card, you'll also get DLSS, and then you can change the DLSS quality. So I've got mine set to quality, but you'll also be able to set it to balanced and maybe performance. They're typically the 3 standard ones that they give you as an option, but the quality one does look the best, and it's the one that I tend to use when using it in games. But you can make it performance or balanced to give you some extra frames. But personally for me, the quality one looks the best, and I don't need the frames on top of that, because I typically stream at 60, so as long as I'm getting 60, I'm happy. If I was playing this game offline, perhaps I'd be trying to get closer to 140 or 160. I think my monitor goes up to 167 Hertz. So if I could get close to that, great. But if not, quality is right. So here's the space station with its new shiny textures, and I think that's new as well. I can't remember seeing that before in the prior space station. Let's get this handed in. That was almost a failure. There we go. Now, I need to sell my modules first, so I'm going to do that right now. And as you can see, we're about to make our first million. So these little percentages mean what the space station buy the stuff for. So you can see there that it's plus 1.3%. And as a result of it being plus 1.3%, it means I'm actually getting a little bit more. However, when I sell these, the basically if that was an item that this station sold, that percentage would change. You could actually use that to your advantage, and you can essentially crash a market's economy and basically sell them all of your cobalt's a really popular one to do it with. You can sell them all your cobalt, crash the percentage down, so basically the percentage goes down to like minus 70%, and then you can buy it back for a much cheaper price because the economy doesn't want it anymore. And then because you've bought it back for a cheaper price, you can't then sell it back to the same station because obviously they would buy it back for that minus 70 price. You then go to a different space station and sell it for the normal price, and you just space station hop and just keep doing that pattern, and that's how you can get a lot of money. However, for the time being, we're just doing that to get our first million, which we have done. And the second objective was to buy 5 microprocessors, which we'll do just now. While I'm here, I'm going to buy a lot of sodium and a lot of oxygen and a lot of ferrite dust. Because what that's going to do is that's going to cut out a lot of the manual stuff that we're having to do on the planets. Finding sodium plants, finding oxygen plants, finding rocks for ferrite. By buying all 3 of them, yes, I've had to spend some money on it, but it means I don't have to worry about that as much. Now, cobalt is the more expensive one. As you can see, it's about $500,000. I am still going to buy it because the next station that we visit, I'll probably start doing the buying and selling routine to make that money back. But for now, that's what we need to do. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and buy 10 of... Actually, no, we're hitting quite close to my maximum now. I'll buy the pure ferrite. Tritium, I believe, can just be used for your spaceship, so I'm just going to switch that to spaceship inventory. Now, chromatic metal we can buy, but ultimately it's expensive, so I'm just going to buy 100 of it if I can. Yeah, I'll just, in fact, no, I'll just make it 125. A little bit less farming to do. Right, great stuff. So, did I get the processors? Or is that the one thing I didn't buy? No, I didn't. I also didn't sell the pearls. I'll sell the pearls while I'm here as well. There we go. Okay, so we need 5 microprocessors. And that'll fill that one. We've also got the chromatic metal, which I've just bought from the space station as well. So there we go. And that's the hyperdrive done. So that should hopefully give us the next quest. But I'm just going to speak to this guy and try and give him the Gek Nip just to increase our friendship. He wants a Gek Relic, so I'm just going to try and find one who wants Gek Nip. Gek Relic as well. Got a feeling this is going to be a common theme. Nope, I've got a visited thing, so I think I'm... yeah, I thought so. There we go. And then by giving them this Gek Nip, if I can eventually find someone who wants Gek Nip. No, they all want this Gek Relic. Oh, this is somebody who wants to work for me. That'll be useful for later on, but we don't need them just now. Right, not to worry. I'm going to head back, I think. Let's just check. So, log,
construct hyperdrive, which I've done. Do I just need to get in my ship? That's probably what it's going to ask me. My ship is just here. You'll see how many like stars I've gained straight away from that. Usually like it goes up in like 1 star at a time, but I've just ended up absolutely going crazy with that stuff. So getting research modules and selling them is honestly such a great way to do it. Okay, so this is now where it's going to tell us how to get warp cells. So tune scanner to antimatter. So I've just used the scanner. I'll try using it again. There we go. So it's found an anomaly to have a look at, and it is on a different planet, so we'll get to see a new planet now. So we'll glide towards there. It takes 30 seconds, as you can see the countdown just there. Thankfully this has improved so much since launch. When this game first launched, this used to be a nightmare, because if it was like round the back of a planet, you would have to like sort of warp around yourself and like manually go around the planet and then warp to it. But then they managed to fix it so that it automatically angles your flight path just like that. But they did that either at the start of last year or towards the end of 2019, and it was a very, very welcome thing to put into the game. Okay, so just going to go ahead and land down here. Right, again, this is going to ask us to scan for the location of this person, so let's begin to do it. So 400 meters that way. I say 400 meters, it's 400 U, whatever that is. That's condensed carbon as we're going past. It's not often you can mine it. Usually you have to refine it. We'll grab whatever relics in here. Oh, we've got a microprocessor. It might be useful later on. We've used all the ones we need just now, but we'll see what we get later on. Just scan this dude. Another thing that they've added in this update is the ability to tame and ride flyable creatures, so creatures that actually fly. So you can get flying mounts in the game now, which is really cool. The only thing I found is creatures tend to be really slow. It'd be nice if they were a bit quicker. Typically you find at the moment that you get in the back of them, but you kind of feel that you're going so much slower than you would do if you had a vehicle doing it for you instead. But the flying mount is a really nice addition, and hopefully either Hello Games or a modder will make the creatures that you tame, the companions that you get, quicker to use. I don't know if that already is in the game. I haven't actually played since the companion update came out, and I haven't actually got a companion at all yet, so that's yet to be a system I've explored. But every time they put out footage of them on a mount, it always looks like it's as slow as it was before. So we'll have to wait and see. Just grabbing the carbon while I'm here, just because it's going to be good for when we get back. Okay, that'll do for now. Perfect, so I'm going to just check this geode just to see what we've got from it. I think it was just either ferrite or something similar.
Yep, just ferrite. Okay. 200 you away, so we're halfway there. No, I'm not about to start stinging the journey. Let's just continue. Push them on. Right. Perfect. So, it was obviously directing us to this place here. Ah, right, okay. This is one of the places that has been destroyed quite heavily by aliens. we'll just say aliens. An unknown alien thing. Abomination is, I think, what the game calls them. And I will show you them. I'm just checking to see what we've got in here first of all. You can actually mine these now. You never used to be able to. A couple of updates ago, 3 or 4 updates ago. Let you do it now, which is nice. Sort of stop whipping you every time you go into one of these places. You can do the ones out, like you've always been able to mine the ones outside. It was always just the ones in here that you had trouble getting. Okay, perfect. I'll just get rid of the goo. It's not worth enough units to take up a space in the inventory, so we'll get a shot of that and then let it do the decryption. Hit the blueprint and we'll have a look. So yep, 16 plays a huge part in this, so we'll for anybody who's not followed the story, the 16s do become a very big theme in the story. Right, okay. I'm going to show you these whispering eggs. They spawn things that will absolutely destroy me. There is a way you can do it where you can negate the damage, where I think you build like a little tunnel using the terrain manipulator to get nearby, and then you just mine them and collect the eggs from under the ground. But I am... this is a predator chasing its prey, but the predator's really slow, so you can't quite catch up. So he's just given up. I'll scan this as well, just because we're obviously getting quite a lot of these now, so we may as well gather them while we're around. It's free credits, isn't it? So we'll get the birds, and also you get a lovely amount of nanites if you manage to find all of the monsters. And look at this big teddy bear over here. Wow. It does tell you, so it's 6 out of 10 I've found now, so there's not actually too many more to find. But anyways, without further ado, let's get these whispering eggs, and then I'm going to make a run for it, because these things are nightmare fuel. So, you mine the egg, and immediately you'll see these guys starting to spawn. So I need to get these cores, and I'm just going to run and jump, and then just start running, and then I'm going to get on top of this building, and just stand here, because they can't quite get you here. But these things here, right, they spit at you as well, so I need to be careful. They do a lot of damage, and if you kill them, they just spawn again. They just keep spawning and spawning and spawning. So you need to wait for basically for it to subside. Now what you can do, whilst they're going crazy over there, you can go to this side and just start mining these eggs. So just a little tip for anybody who does want to do this. And I'll show you why it's worth it in a second. Grab the lava core. There we go. So this is a really easy way to do it whilst they're all stuck at the other side of the building, because they're trying to get to me, but they're trying to get through the building. There's one that's managed to get through. Right, so I'll grab this last core and then jump. So you can see my health getting absolutely tanked by them. Did I manage to get that core? I think I did, yeah. Right, I'll show you why it's worth it. These are worth a lot. So 350,000 pretty much for the stack of 5. What I can do, I can put these into cargo and put them on top of each other. So this will allow me to stack 10. So that just demonstrates my point I was trying to make earlier, where cargo allows you to stack more of the single stack items. I can do the same with the Geknip, but
I'm probably not going to get much more of that. Right, I can actually make the warp cell now. So I'll do that whilst they're doing their thing outside, because I don't think this pauses the game. It's annoying that these guys are down here though. I might try and... Right, there we go, subsiding. Right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this egg here to make the swarm appear here, and then I'm going to go to the other side of the building and get these eggs over here. There's something else that you can do with the eggs as well, which I will also show you. So this will get the spawn, or the swarm, up. Right, let's quickly just try and get these ones. Don't know how well this is going to work. Actually, that's okay. Right, now we're going to run and get these ones. Sometimes they spawn in really annoying locations. Right, I think I can maybe take one more hit before my life support goes down. Grab these. Grab that. There we go. So I'm now starting to take critical damage. So this is the point where it's like, right, okay, I need to stop, because if I lose all of them hearts in the top left corner, I die, and part of my inventory, I think, gets lost as well. You can get your stuff back through, like, by visiting your grave, but ultimately I want to try and avoid that. So, anyways, we've got enough lava cores for now. If I go to cargo, you can see I've got 17 of these. So I could sell that stack of 10 for almost 700,000. But you can also process these in a refiner and get nanites. So it's actually a good source for nanites as well, if you do happen to find one of these buildings. So we're just going to wait here out for the swarm to subside. And then once they've subsided, we will... There we go, so that's them subsiding now. I'm just going to run out to this save point. This will save and chart this area. And we should be good now to move on. However, I do want to grab the modules before I disappear. And then if we end up a little bit of a while away from our ship, we'll just summon our ship to us. So no major problem if that is the case. So you'll see, because I got the oxygen and the sodium, is it sodium? I think it's sodium. From the space station that we were at before. Basically, recharging both of them was simple because I've got loads of material in my backpack now. So it's always a good idea to have like a stack of 9999 in your backpack for that reason. I don't believe you can ever buy carbon. I don't think carbon's ever something that's sold, but ferrite dust is something that you should be able to find at every single vendor, as with cobalt. And oxygen, I think, maybe as well. I'm not 100% on oxygen. That was a very unexpected cave. Cave lighting has completely been overhauled, but we can't really see it because I think with it being daytime, it's quite difficult to see. If I grab these, I think if you try and do it in a cave, it's okay, but ultimately I'd rather not risk having to run away from sentinels for the next 5 minutes, so I'm just going to leave them. Honestly, with the amount that they're worth, it's really not worth the trouble. Interestingly, here's more furry animals, so another area of the fur. That was the predator, so he finally got his prey, which is that poor thing there. So let's have a look for more technology modules. So there's none around us, so we'll start heading back to the ship because I know there was some over in this direction.
Now if you see a little plus next to an icon, it means that you need an advanced mining laser to take it. So you'll see there I can't actually do it. You get the advanced mining laser as you progress through the game. You can also get it using either nanites or blueprint modules on the Nexus. So if you don't want to go through the story, that's another way you can get it. I think I have to get it back on the Nexus, because I think it takes a while to get it otherwise. And the technology module, where was it? Another really good way to make units, which I'll just talk about now while I'm looking for any close by modules, is you can upgrade your scanner. So by upgrading your scanner, you can get a significant increase to the amount of units you get when you scan a plant or a animal. And so it's fauna and is it flora? They're the two different types. So you'll see there I get 500 for scanning that plant, but you can upgrade it to a point where you're getting like, I think for a rare plant or animal you can get like, I want to say like, was it 150,000 or 300,000 or something, just for a single scan, or 200,000 units, and it was a really, really good way to make units as well. But it takes a little while to get the nanites to be able to get the 3 upgrade modules required from the space station to be able to do that. But something worth bearing in mind if you do quite like the exploration aspect, because it allows you to just roam around the galaxy and discover the different bits and pieces. So here's the next one. We don't even need to dig for this one, it's just on the surface. That gave us 3, okay. And now we can start heading back to the ship. We've got 2 more. And that one actually is a bit closer, so we'll put this one first. Again, I just want to get some millions in the bank so that when a nice little ship comes across, we can buy it out. Just like a little sort of next step ship, which has more slots and hopefully a higher class, because the ships come in different classes. You've got C class, you've got B class, you've got A class, and then you've got S class. And then finally, you have exotics, which have, I think, a 1% chance of spawning inside a space station when the ships come in. So definitely keep an eye out for. They're more common in wealthy systems, but you need to get an economy scanner to understand if a system is wealthy or not. Honestly, there's so many different like gameplay elements to this game now, because it's been through so many updates. There's plenty to keep your mind busy. Right, let's get rid of the residue. So this wants me to make an antimatter housing. I don't really know why, because I've already got the warp cell, but I'll do it anyway. So there's the housing. Now it's saying craft the warp cell, but I can't because I've already got it. So that means I need to get more. Not to worry. I am going to use the save point down here, but not before I just quickly get whatever's in here.
Radiation protection.
Now the little stuttering that you might be noticing tends to happen when you go into like a new area and it's generating the terrain around you, and then it'll just stop and it'll be back to normal. You get used to it after a little while. It doesn't take long at all to level out. So it's not like a stream issue, it's not a game issue per se, it's more just the game loading in. As like, if you think of like Minecraft chunks, it kind of does the same thing, it's procedurally generating the next chunk. got all of these. I'm kind of conscious that we've literally only got like maybe one more or two more fauna to find, and then we've completed this planet and we can get like a bunch of nanites. So I'm semi-tempted to do that, but I'm going to have a look at the ones that are remaining to see where they reside, because sometimes they only come out at night and sometimes they are cave creatures, and the cave creatures are so frustrating to find. And what is this? Is it... This is like two things in one. We've got that and then a technology module. So I'll take the module, but then we've got this. What is this? Withering lump. Has that always surrounded them? I know you can get like salvageable scrap, but I've never seen organic matter surrounding it before. I mean, it's pretty... Oh, processed protein. Let's get rid of... I'm going to get rid of that, because I haven't got a gun yet, so... Is that it? Residual goop and poo. Right, let's just get rid of the goop. The poo will be useful later on, though. Okay, so, to do the discovery stuff, so I need 3 more, and they are these. Underwater. Oh, right, okay. We're just nowhere near a water point on this map. So we could fly to water, and then we should actually be able to complete that rather quickly, because water-based animals you can get to respawn simply by jumping out of the water and then jumping back in, and then it'll rejig the animals that are there. So we should be able to get that quite good. Sonda the Robust. I think that's because I've spent so long on a planet which is of which has like a toxicity to it, but not an extreme planet, or else I'll be getting the little achievement thing off of it. Instead, I'm getting a title just for being on a not so desirable planet. Because typically people just build a base on a really nice planet and that's where they stay. And the game tries to encourage you to go to these not so nice planets, because often you'll find more valuable stuff there, and obviously there's achievements and stuff you can get from there as well. Okay, when you are refueling the terrain manipulator, always use silicate powder. There's no other use for it that I'm aware of. I don't even know what it refines into, but I can't imagine it being much use. I mean, I can double check, but the silicate powder you get from doing that, and you can literally use it to refuel it, but you can't refuel your multi-tool with it. You can't basically refuel anything with it. So uranium, now that's actually quite a good one to have. You can basically power your ship with uranium. I'll show you once it's there, once it's picked up. But uranium can be used in place of starship fuel. So typically when I find uranium in a... I like how my character's kind of gone first person, but not quite. There is actually a first person mode where you'll see the model, but I'm in third person at the moment, so that's why I did that. Yeah, so space stations can stock uranium, and when I do tend to buy it out, because it can be used as starship fuel, and it means that you have to... It's one less thing to worry about again, in terms of when you're taking off, you can just stock up with uranium. So, let's hop in the ship. So we're at 0% now, so if I go and try and do it, you can see the uranium can be used to boost it. And I'm interested to know, and I've still got some left, so you can see it doesn't even take that much to add it in. So let's just quickly fly over to a body of water, and then once we're there, we will take a little bit of a plunge and see if we can find the missing fauna. Has become night time though. This looks like a body of water here. Right. Now I'm just going to just double check just to see if any of these were always active, always active, always active. Perfect. Sometimes they are day or night, so nocturnal, or whatever the opposite of nocturnal is, where they're active during the day. So because these are always active, I can just jump into this water. Did I just take damage? I don't think it was like... Maybe I did, I don't know. Anyways, I rarely go underwater, to be honest. But there was a whole update devoted towards making it better. Now I'm just trying to see where the fauna is, because there's none so far. Usually they're quite quick to spawn. Now there are things you can get under here, as you can see. Living pearl. I do think though that there's only a certain amount you can maybe get, and then something horrible happens, or it was like at least for like a certain type of structure. Now you need to be conscious that there is an oxygen meter which you're seeing in the bottom left going down, and that's the blue meter. It doesn't take too long to get back up to the surface though, so still looking for some, there's some fauna, right. So there's one of the animals discovered. Let's just get back up to the top so that we can get our oxygen back. Oh dear. There we go. Typically when you try and swim in zones which are radioactivity or heat or whatever, the water will be a higher concentration of that, so you've got to bear that in mind when you are jumping into these zones. So we've got our next fauna here, which I'll just scan now. Might need to get a little bit closer, but there we go. Oh, hang on. Because these are the guards around me, so it keeps targeting that instead. There we go. Oh, come on, there we are. I'm going to take on this on a clan. That's a huge rock of sorts. I'm just hoping that nothing horrible happens when I take this one. Because I know there's something where you've got like... if you take it, something really horrible happens. But I'm not sure if it's maybe these structures that it happens in. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, you can get the Nauticon, which allows you to go underwater and have a vehicle to go around in, so you're not losing oxygen and such. Dear. Oh, I've not been paying attention. Right, up. No, up. There we go. Right. I'm just going to slowly head towards land again, because we may need to reset the fauna. So we've got these guys who are just swarming me, but they're not damaging me or anything, but that means that that's one of the things that have spawned. We've got that other thing that spawned, and we're just waiting for the one last thing to spawn now, and then that's this planet completed, and we can get some nights, and nights are super important, so... What on earth is that? Submerged relic. It says 2-star as well. I wonder what that is. Unless it's the living pearl. I think living pearls are actually worth quite a lot as well. Ooh, my hazard actually gone. Right, we're back on land now, so that should... Yep, so you'll see that there's no more fauna that's underwater now, but if I go back underwater, should rejig it, and we should start seeing fauna reappear for the underwater biome. So we've got one up there. Yep, so there's some of the fish respawning now. That's respawned, but that's the other type. We need the third type, but I've got a funny feeling that They're going to be the only two. And as I say, this is literally the last one that we need. And then, manufacturing facility. They're super actually important, so we'll also go there before we leave. Manufacturing facilities offer you new technology that you can only get at manufacturing facilities, and are super, super useful. Like, they give you access to Atlas passes, they give you access to I think new technologies and that sort of stuff. So we'll get to see that when we head across. But for now, I just want to find this last piece of fauna, and then we can summon our spaceship and head through. But I have noticed the Ferrite technology, which is obviously super important as well. Well, that's fine. I am going to get rid of the dihydrogen jelly and the Geknek, because I couldn't find anybody who wanted it, so there we go.
Extreme radiation detected.
Okay, third time lucky. Let's hope we can find.
Radiation protection falling.
It'll probably be like a rare one that doesn't spawn as often, so nope, it's just been the same two again. See the walkers on the floor over there, and then the little fish over there. Yep, so we've already got these and we've already got that. Right, let's have a look at it. I'm not gonna, if this starts taking too long, I'm just gonna move on. Even though it is just one more we need, and I appreciate it's not the most exciting of content to be watching.
Extreme radiation detected.
But the nanite would be lovely. And I probably should get quite a lot because it's 10 animals we're handing in.
Radiation protection falling.
Like 300, 400 nanite or something. Let's see what this is. Let's see if I can even mine it. Oh, these have like things on the side. I think this might be one of the... Oh wait, no, is that going to erupt? Yeah, it's going to erupt. Right, okay. Fair enough.
Technology recharge.
Just grab this last one. Right, that wasn't one of the scary things, thankfully. It was just a underwater volcano. Okay. I think that's going to be enough looking for this creature now. Let's move on to the manufacturing facility. Over there. Is that the one I've got targeted? I'm guessing it is. Right, let's get up here. We'll spawn our spaceship and then head across. Okay. This is the whole companion menu, but it's not something I've personally had a chance to have a look at yet. Just waiting for the right creature to come along. Preferably a flying one with fur, that'd be nice. Okay. Not what I'm after. Where's the facility? So I did mark it, but it's not that navigation marker either. Maybe it's just this one, this building that was up here. It wasn't that far away, was it? So let's double check. As long as it's not eggs outside, it should be okay. Manufacturing, perfect. Right. So these are really important. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of a save scum here. In that, I'm going to head in, and there's a puzzle that you need to do, but if you don't know many alien words, sometimes it's difficult to guess it correctly. Oh, can I even get in?
Radiation protection falling.
Can I beat the door? Just realised I don't have it mapped, so... this one, on. Right, and then melee. Why is the melee button missing? Ah, right, okay, got you. And then multiple options on, and then melee attack. Perfect, got it. And close that. Done. Okay, so now what should happen is... Yep, so you'll see that I now punch. See if this works. Oh, it does, but really slow. No, I'm going to need like a bolt caster or something. No way, I'm just going to stand there for like 30 minutes just punching a door. We'll get a bolt caster soon. So we'll come back to the sort of manufacturing facility. Because we know that this planet is nearby to our home planet. And also that there's only one more thing to find on the planet, so we can come back to that at another time. As for now, we're fine. Never go in space when you've got sentinels looking for you. They're no longer looking for you now, so that's fine, but if you do go into space, basically they'll send ships after you, so it's not a good idea. Okay, so it's asking me to fuel the hyperdrive, so I'll do that. I'll head into space, and then now we can go into the galaxy map. And this is how we get from our place into anywhere we want in the galaxy, as long as it's within our warp range. But the warp range can be increased with upgrades, and also you can use your freighter to warp, and yeah, it hits a point where you can actually warp quite long distances away. But the key thing is, each one of these is its own solar system, and it'll tell you someone else has discovered it, which is not the case. But for this one here, loads of planets, so we're just going to walk to this one, and once we've arrived, we'll get the next objective. Oh. And these are the new warp screens as well. Right, I believe we'll get this now, this message. I'm hoping that we don't take damage. No, we didn't. I don't know if this has been added, but you used to just crash straight through the asteroids when this was happening. So continue. Okay. Accept the guidance. And then we can plot the route. And that's going to take us... just trying to see on the map, so it's up here. Right. So let's walk towards here. Fuel this with the tritium that we bought earlier. Scan it whilst we're heading towards it. Hot planet, selenium, etc. It's a very water heavy planet, so hopefully we're not having to go underwater for this, but we'll find out shortly. like it might just be on land. Just. Now, that's the approximate location, so I'm assuming this is the actual location, given it's the only building structure nearby. So let's land here. And bring this up. Yep, so this is the right bit. So I'm going to use these first, just to learn some new words. There we go. Now typically it only does this once per race, so I did the Gek one before, so now every time I use it, it should just give me the word, yeah. And then it'll do this one, and eventually when we go back to the race, it'll give me the words, not callbacks, sorry, the Viking, it'll give me the Viking script, and then each one I use from then on will just be the word. So, let's use this. Okay. Traveller. It's last. These options don't matter, by the way. You can choose either. No, it's the same script. I've played this about... I must have made about 30 different saves. It's like, so I've seen the different responses, and this bit here is purely it trying to identify if it's speaking to an actual life form like a Viking or whatever, or if it's speaking to somebody who is sentient like we are, and it's figured that we're sentient, so it's like, right, okay, you need to come and see us right now. And then after that, the other vocal choices that are in the game, where you've got multiple choice questions, they will adapt. I don't think it changes the outcome of the conversation, but the responses might be different. So you might see like differently worded responses, but it ultimately reaches the same outcome, to my knowledge, anyway. Okay, what was the next objective? So. Was it literally just to get another warp drive and go elsewhere? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to head to the space station. Yeah, it wants us to go and explore another galaxy now. But I'm going to go to the space station first, because we've got stuff we need to do there. And then the entrance is that way, so we'll just head over here. Right, and then once we've landed, we'll see where we stand at that point. So, had a bit of a difficulty there, but got through it. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Right, I am now off the ship, so that's the restore point saved. That's going to be the end of today's stream, so it'll also be available and catch up on the YouTube channel as well under Arckellon. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will likely be streaming again at some point over the weekend. Tomorrow both Dio and I will not be on streaming duties as we're meeting up for a captain's meeting, so there likely won't be any streaming that occurs tomorrow. But either Saturday or Sunday, we should be back in action. I'll try and get some more of this in, as well as Biomutant. And until then, enjoy the rest of your day, evening, morning, wherever it is you are. And we will catch you when we're next online. So thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I'm sure I will see you all very soon. Sonder out. Cheers, guys.